minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women share to be bold and take risks. The talks, women say what they feel and mean what they say.
I think it was a really long
Believe in
week
your
this week.
power, so much power. Yeah. The talks where women share.
Good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of Vault Talks Women Share. We're super excited that you guys are here. There's tons of things you guys can be doing on a Thursday night or whenever you're catching this, but you're here with us and we are honored. So for those of you who may be new to Vault Talks, hey, for those who are repeats, what's up? Welcome back. Vault Talks is indeed a platform where women come together to learn more and share more about matters that pertain to their world. It's indeed on this platform where we talk about entrepreneurship, ways to be empowered as women, fashion, but understanding sisterhood is very important. And so we're super excited to be able to have a platform where we can actually be real as women. So with that being said, we're going to hop into our first segment like this. What's going on with the crew? So everybody can take the time to share a little bit about who they are and what they do and share a win for the week. Sometimes we're always on the go where we don't even have an opportunity to celebrate the wins that God has afforded for us to have within the day, the week. And so this is the time to definitely do that. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to go far, far, far to the islands. We're going to go to Jamaica. Come on, Kingston, Jamaica. Come through, Sharika.
Hi, everyone. Hi to Cara.
Hi, girl.
Okay, my name is Sharika Swaby. As she clearly mentioned, I am living in Kingston, Jamaica. I was born here in Jamaica. I've lived here my whole life. And I'm yet to leave, but that will happen at some point in the future. I'm looking forward to that. Anyways, I am the mind reset strategist. I'm a life coach. I do alignment and spirituality. I am the author of this beautiful book over here. It's called An Introduction to Freedom. And it really is aimed at helping individuals to get unstuck, essentially, and to step into their identity, their power, and to achieve the things that they were meant to achieve. I also host an Instagram show called Conversations with Sharika, where I talk to people about their stories, where they came from. And I have had the pleasure of speaking to some amazing individuals, telling some really hard stories to hear, but somehow they managed to come out of that victorious. So I am enjoying that. It's kind of like one of the high points of my week. So that's amazing. That's happening. And here locally, I am working on a way of getting the things that I teach into the system so that children can have access to a program that helps them to think, essentially, because a lot of us really aren't thinking. We're just taking whatever people tell us, but we don't have a thought of our own. We're not developing our ideas. We're not growing. So I'm working on that here, I want to take it in schools and in the homes as well, because if you work on a child and send them home into the same situation, it's probably going to get knocked out of them. So the idea is to work with the kids and the parents as well. And it goes on, but I'll end there for now and turn the mic over to the next person.
Yes, we're going to go to the ATL show. Let's go and talk to Shanice.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, with the foot rocking after
Awesome. I
Dora.
finally got it a little bit. I'm
Hey.
like challenged in these areas. Hi, guys. So I'm Shanice. I am the CEO and founder of Bearskin USA. It's an amazing plant-based skincare brand. And I'm just excited to be here tonight, just amongst all of you women. You all are doing some amazing things. I had the opportunity to kind of do my research on you as well, Miss Kit Lockett. So I'm excited for all that you have going on. But really, right now, what I'm working on, I am getting ready to streamline things for my business and just really scale things. Really getting ready to go into the stores for Q2. And so, yeah, just really excited about that.
Congratulations.
Woo! Yes. That is so amazing, Shanice. I didn't know. See, this is why you create these opportunities for your sisters to share. You never know when somebody cooking up in their kitchen over there. So I love that. Rika, where you at, sis? You there?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Loud and clear. 1 2 1 2.
Here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Bit of a delay then.
Yes.
All right. So you're right. Originally from Queens, New York, moved to Virginia, got stationed there, was in the Navy, electronics technician. So that's my background. And then started the entrepreneurship journey. And now I'm helping people increase their income. As I said before, the pandemic has really done a number on a lot of people. So I'm really looking to as many people as I can in finances. That's my goal right now, along with starting my talk show. So I'm super excited.
Yes. Yes. We are excited about this talk show. Listen, she's been talking about this talk show for a minute. I'm like, girl, with that logo, you gonna finally do something with that mic? What you gonna do? If you seen her logo, she has a mic in it. And I'm like, are we finally gonna put the mic to work? What do we do? If you see that, so I love it. So for those of you who know who I am, some people don't. I'm Cara Nicole, aka the Identity Architect, as I help Christian female entrepreneurs to build. I help them to live, unlock, and rediscover their purpose by using powerful insight, discernment, and sensitivity, along with helping my clients build books, businesses, brands, and themselves. And we all have a story. So I have my consulting and publishing company where I help my clients monetize their genius. And here lately, the Lord, I say the Lord because this was not my idea, okay? I'm just saying. Started my own TV network on Roku called Boss TV Network, coming next month. Super excited about it. When the Lord tells you to do something, get ready because you don't know who he gonna send from the north, south, east, west, at the grocery store, at Walmart, at Home Depot to come and help you to build. And it's just been mind-blowing all in itself. And I'm humbled to be chosen to create such an opportunity. My laptop must be happy too because it's ready to fly off the stand tonight, which it normally don't move. It must be happy. Got happy feet too. But just really excited about what God is doing, just in the family as well. And so my family, typically when I say my family, I'm talking about those that aren't blood family, because he really brings me to connect with some amazing people. But tonight, y'all, we have an amazing guest. One of the things that I love about Vault Talks Women Share is that we have created such a platform to where women can just simply sit on their couch, sit on their chair, have a dialogue where they feel like they right at home we all in the same room, kumbaya. It's a very lax environment because that's what sisterhood should be. We should be able to have those healthy conversations, love on one another, celebrate each other. And so Kit Lockett, y'all, is such a dynamic woman. I was reading her bio. And me being the writer and helping people with bios, like I get excited when I get to read somebody's bio. Because it is one element of their lives that they share with the world. And so Kit has a story. And so tonight's show, the Lord literally gave me this title last minute because tonight's show was supposed to be a whole different show. And so one of the things that I love is that these women here who make up the queens of Vault Talks, we all hear from God. Like we all know, hey, if someone ain't showing up, we got to pivot. We got to shift. It's okay. We ain't going to cry. We ain't going to pout. Evidently, Kit, you the one tonight. So we need to hear a word from Kit in reference to her story. So she's a realtor now. She owns her own brokerage. Like she's doing her thing. And one thing I love about sisters like Kit, ladies, and some of those gentlemen that may be watching this, because we do have a couple of guys that tune into Vault Talks Women Share. They be trying to get the lowdown on how to have a better relationship with females, which is very smart, guys. Wink, wink. But we're thankful that you are who you are, Kit. We're thankful that you're vulnerable. You fit right in with the Vault Talks family. So share a little bit about who you are, and then we're going to just have a nice roundtable discussion about how the power of your story can really, truly be the GPS to the success that God has for you.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm truly humbled. I feel like I should just get up and walk out right now because I can't think better than you said. That was enough right there. So I am Kit Lockett. I am a realtor based out of Virginia. I've been in real estate now longer than I can honestly remember because before I was a realtor on my own. My husband and I were investing in real estate. So I actually started off as an investor before I became a full-time realtor. Right now, I'm so excited and humbled. I made a phone call about 2 months ago to a young lady that I used to work with. And I was like, I'm thinking about starting my own brokerage. I was like, we worked together and we were an amazing team, I thought. Mind you, I hadn't spoke to this person in a year. I had a whole speech written out, prepared to kind of persuade her to come and join my team. As a realtor, one of the main things you do is recruit. And I know it sounds kind of cutthroat, but a lot of times you are recruiting from other brokerages. That's where established agents are. So I call her and, I have this whole thing I rehearsed with my husband, but how I was going to try to convince her to come from this super established firm to someone who has zero experience running a brokerage. At that point, I wasn't even, I hadn't even passed my broker exams or anything. So I call her and I get 3 sentences in and she's just like, I'm in. And she was just like, Kit, she was like, I remember the day you walked into, our firms that we worked at together previously. And she was like, and I said then that we were destined to be friends. And she was like, she's like, and she just kind of opened up to me. And she's like, I always kind of felt like maybe I wasn't at your level, never knew how to approach you. And so I just told her, I was like, and here I am trying to figure out how to approach you. And so, and it was a match made in heaven. Scheduled a couple of meetings along the way, of course. There was so many naysayers. Oh, well, this company is bigger. This company is better. You just want to join a team. You want to go over there. For women in your demographics, it's extra hard. This is, I don't know if I can say this. If I can't, I'm just going to try to be blunt. But, I was told, this is a white man's game at that level.
Yeah.
A lot of the brokerages are, although there are a lot of female agents, the actual top players and brokers in my field typically are white men.
Right.
So, I received so much just negativity. But one thing I did was I went back to my word. I went back to God and I'm like, show me. I was like, if this is for me, I was like, just show me. So you know how that goes. When you say those words, you have to be prepared for God to open up and show you. Because if you ask him he's gonna deliver every single time. Asking it is given. And so I went to church the very next day after praying that prayer, and we had a guest speaker. So I'm hemming and hawing. I'm like, oh, I should have stayed home. My pastor ain't talking today. I'm like, who is this guest speaker? And her service was literally called well, one of the title of her sermon rather was Anchored in the Lord. And at that point, the name of my brokerage was going to be Anchored Realty. And all she talked about is how your dreams and your faith have to be anchored in God, and when they are, there's nothing that you can't do. So I was like, okay, God, I heard you. Because I mean, I'm not gonna ask you twice. I'm not gonna make you repeat yourself because you already gave me what I asked for. You gave me the answer. So I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead. And so I'm going ahead and I'm moving forward. And I'm not gonna lie, I was all excited. And somewhere I just kind of hit this point where I felt like I want to do this, but I don't want to do it this way. Something's wrong. And so I'm like, so I'm back to my word. I'm like, something's off. And I couldn't figure out what it was. So I picked up this book. At this point, I think I was waiting on my daughter. She goes to Regent University to finish up something. And I pick it up and I see the word opulence. And I was like, that's what it is. I was like, the brand I was building under Anchored, although I loved that I wanted, and I knew that I wanted my business anchored in the Lord, it didn't feel like me. I'm all glitz and glam all day long. That is who God made me to be. But when I was presenting Anchored, it was this very stale, image of what I thought a brokerage was supposed to be, of where I was supposed to be to compete with these, the mainstream brokers. I wanted to be super serious. I wanted, to have that image so that if I was ever questioned, I could show that I belonged there with them. But as I was reading this magazine and the word opulence just stood out to me. And I was like, that's why I can't move forward, because I'm not sold on the name Anchored. That's not who Kit Lockett is. That's who they are, the nautical theme and the Navy. I've never been in the Navy a day in my life, but my what's it called? My logo was an anchor, and it looked very nautical, it looked very sturdy and stable. But I'm like, I'm opulent. I'm Vogue. I'm luxury. I'm luxe. And once I saw that name, I called Naj. I shouldn't put her name up there, but I called the young lady I was working with, who I said, come with me. And she was like, I didn't want to tell you, but I didn't like that name in the first place. And so with the new name, she's like, that's it. So I reached out to a couple of other agents. I pitched them on, what my brokerage would be founded on, which is opulence and excellence. And needless to say, I was like, okay, we're going to take on 5. And then 5 became 7. And then I was like, okay, well, now we at 8. And then it was like, oh, well, my friend wants to come. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, okay, now we're at 10. And next thing I knew, I had a really strong team behind me. And these women are fierce. They're dedicated. They're loyal. And first and foremost, they trust me, and I will never betray that trust. So I tell them, if I have to work day, night, in and out, y'all will all make 6 figures. That is minimum wage around here, and I won't stop until it happens for each and every one of y'all. So that's a little bit of my story back and forth. The long story short, we're a brand new brokerage, but we're ready, we're capable, and we are opulent.
Wow. That's so dope that you talked about the identity of your company. Like, that's what is the framework. That's like the foundation that allows people to build. And I don't think a lot of people, think of that. That's so dope. Sharika, what you got? Because let me tell you, Kit, Sharika be meditating and listening all at the same time she loves stories that much, so she be taking your story in, baby. She be listening. I love it about her. You think she over there dozing? She's like, no, I'm imagining being in Kit's world. Go ahead, Sharika. Imagine being in Kit's world. What you got, girl? What you got?
I tell you, Takara, you know me a little too well, but it's funny. And last week's show was kind of a confirmation for me. And this week's show, in about a month, this is April, then you have May. By June, I'll be a licensed real estate agent. So maybe we
Oh
can
yeah,
just keep walking
congratulations.
sometime.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So who knows? Maybe I could get your property in Jamaica for a client. The world is a
I
small
love
world.
that. Sure, you can sell me a property in Jamaica. I mean,
Oh,
I
I'm
travel a
down.
lot.
Anytime you're ready. Anytime you're ready, I'm here. But it's funny, but dream big, Takara. I say this every time we come on here. Dream big. I mean, sometimes we get these ideas, right? And our tiny little puny mind can't even fathom how this is even going to be possible, how it's going to come together. And what I have learned over the short space of time that I've been in this space is just go with the flow. Trust the vision, and the vision will pull you. I have this thing that I say: purpose drives and vision pulls. The vision that you have is what's going to pull you into the space that you need to be into. Just hold the vision, because sometimes some things manifest for me and I'm like, I didn't have anything to do with it. You get up and you plan these things out, and then something happens and I had nothing to do with it. I have been wanting to get into magazines and so on, to promote my book and to promote my message to Cara. Last Saturday, I was in the park, lying down. I was grounding, lying down flat on the grass, no blanket, nothing. And then the rain came, and I got up. I wasn't driving because I had dropped my car off at the mechanic. So the rain came, and I got up and sat on one of the benches. And I sat on one of the benches and I was like, I could just sit here in the rain, but then I was like, no one's gonna let me in their taxi when if I'm wet. So I went under a tent thing like that they had underneath in the park. And you never met, guess who I met? I met a guy who does magazine covers, right? And and just like that, remember that shoot I told you about, Takara? That's how I got that shoot, completely unplanned, unsolicited. I had nothing to do with it, right? My heart was feeling a little bit heavy, and I said, and something said to me, just go to the park and ground yourself. And I lay
Wow.
down in the grass, and I even fell asleep, right? And the rain came, I got up, there was this guy. I went and stood right beside him when the rain came, and he asked me some questions, started a conversation, and just like that, the next Monday, I was doing a photo shoot.
What? See, let me tell you. Now you
Wow.
holding out. You want to share, right? Hold on. No. She had me looking at outfits. What you think about this? What you think about that? And you, okay, we're gonna talk about you offline. We got a guest in the house. We ain't gonna do that the first time. We gonna let her, this season and then the next time. But I'm excited. Sharika, we're excited for you. Congratulations.
Very.
Thank
Amen.
you. That's why I said a vision, to Cara. You have to run. So, Kit, I'm rooting for you, and
Thank you. But it's
I'm
all
glad.
about the discipline. You went where you were led to go. Had you have ignored that calling to go to that park that day and said, "Well, I wanted to go to the park, but I'm going to go to the mall instead," you would have missed that opportunity. Sometimes
Woo!
it's just about listening to that voice inside of you that says, "Go to that place." In the Bible, God called plenty of people to plenty of places, and you find that their blessings were tied to a set location, and they had to be in place, and they had to be in position to receive that blessing. So just like you were called and you were led to go and you listened. So amen for that, because that right there is a whole testimony in itself.
That
Kid,
truly,
listen.
definitely.
Sharika Kid trying to get people to give her a cash app for preaching a good word. On Black Talk Women Share. She wants to
Well,
crash.
that's
She
not a
wants
bad
to crash.
thing. That's not a
Right.
bad thing.
Offering accepted.
Exactly. Receptivity. You gotta be receptive,
Hey,
So
no. So, Kid,
Yeah.
first of all, congratulations on
Thank
all
you.
that you're doing.
Mhm.
You said so much that was confirmation for me when you said go online. Was that? I know it was before we came into the studio. to just even, pursue what I was talking about. That's the option that I've been looking at. And it was crazy because I'm like, I don't know about that, but you're giving the confirmation to where that's what it is. And so what you're saying is we have to be positioned to hear and then be positioned to act. We can hear all day, but if we don't act, that's half of the formula. So you're not going to get to the end of the equation if you're missing the b squared of a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So that's good. I love that.
Exactly. And I think for a lot of people, it's a mindset thing. It's I don't know what the next step is, so I'm just going to stay still. But at some point, you realize that you just got to start walking. And when you start walking, your steps are just ordered sometimes. And like you were saying, Sharika, you end up in a place and that your blessing is there, and you didn't even know at that point in time that that's where you were supposed to be, or you were going to meet somebody that was going to help you on your journey. But the main thing is you just got to start moving. A lot of us are first generation entrepreneurs. We're doing this without a roadmap, without a blueprint, and it can be scary. I don't like to sell the, everything is perfect narrative. I think that sets up so many that followed our footsteps for failure, because then they start daunting on themselves. Why, I feel scared, so maybe I'm not supposed to do this. No, it is scary, but that fear serves as an indicator that you are doing the right thing. And it's such an old adage, and it's so cliche that if your dreams don't scare you, then they aren't big enough. It is supposed to be scary, and that right there, just telling myself that, gets me through the anxiety of starting something new, gets me through the fear of the unknown. Just reminding myself that, you know what? Yeah, you okay? You scared, but it's okay. Keep moving, keep going. And you're gonna be all right in the end. That's the one thing I know that, and I rely on my faith a lot, so I'm just gonna put that out there. But the one thing that God guarantees us throughout everything in the Bible is that in the end we have victory. So I just hold on to that. The middle might get kind of muddy, might get kind of scared, might get kind of bruised, might have to tuck my tail between my legs a little bit, a couple of times. But in the end, I win. And just knowing that makes me keep going.
Kit, listen, Kit's working for her co-host position on Vault Talks Women. Well, you ain't gotta work that hard. If you want it, you can have it.
The resume will be in your inbox.
You didn't know this was the interview right here. You got it. Congratulations. But you're saying so much that we all have been talking about lately. It's like you fit into the conversation, like you have our homes with mics in it, listening to our conversations. Because Sharika and I talk pretty often. So do Rika and I. And even with the other girls, when we talk, it's like right on point. And when we have these guests come in, it's like, have y'all been talking? Like, did y'all?
Confirmation.
It's always confirmation. It's so crazy. But the one thing that you said is being so dependent on our faith. And 2020 for me was the year when God kept reminding me of Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Like that was my go-to scripture, like just trusting in the Lord and not leaning to my own understanding. Because when we lean that way, then the boat gets lopsided. You know what I'm saying? It gets a little weighty, gets a little flesh-like. And so he's like, well, come back this way. And we're like, well, Lord, you be taking too long sometimes. Because
we all have been there. We have all been there.
Yeah. And we be like, Jesus, are you here? There's a reel that says, Lord is your faithful servant. Like we just be sitting here waiting on God to answer.
Me, definitely. Like, so yours is Proverbs, mine is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know my plans to prosper you. I'm like, okay, because somebody gonna have to have some plans, because I don't have one. So I'm like, I'm like, you said you got the plans. I'm just gonna have to roll with yours because I'm all planned out. So,
right.
But I love it. I absolutely love it. And just kind of speaking of plans, it is so necessary these days. I joke about, not having a plan and relying on God. But at some point, I think what a lot of our households are missing is just a family plan. I know it sounds strange. I run my business, I run a tight ship. I'm flexible where I need to be, but I definitely, run a tight ship. And that's the only way to kind of guarantee my success and mitigate losses. But outside of, my business, we also have a family plan. And people always think that it's so weird. My husband, myself, and my kids, we sat down and we came up with a mission statement, a vision statement for our family, and a family plan with goals for the next 10 years as a unit. Not just individuals. I told them, my kids, they're getting older, they're leaving the nest. I was like, that's for y'all to figure out on your own, but this is who we are as a family, and these are where our goals are as a unit. And I was like, and outside of that, y'all will have your own thing. I'll never hold y'all back. And I think that just changed things for us. We did that about 4 years ago. My daughter had on it. She was going to go to college. I ain't going to lie, at that point, I was like, she's going to make it. But but she had it on the plan, and it worked. You got to write it down and make it plain. And so, and I think that more families, I don't force people to take our way as the right way. But I just think I wish that more families would just implement that family plan because it's a game changer.
Wow. Wow. Listen. Oh my God. Oh, whoosh, I don't even know where to start with that. You said something very plain, and you said something that's very powerful, and you said something that a lot of us don't do. And you're right. We don't sit down and map stuff out. And you said something earlier about first generation entrepreneurs. That's all of us sitting here. And I talk about it all the time with my clients. Like, we are creating the footsteps, and it can be so heavy being a trailblazer. And we're looking for that support, and we think it's going to always come from family. But God connects you with other people like yourself, Kit, Sharika, Rika, Shanice, Michaela, and Jennifer. Those are the ladies that are also a part of Vault Talks. You never know where that fresh breath of wind is coming from. Like, you don't know. And it's the alignment, it's the connecting of the dots that literally blows your mind, because in your mind you're like, okay, I need support to help me with this load, knowing that God has given us what he's given us. So we're like, okay, that whole Proverbs 29:11, which I have right in front of me as well, that's one of my go-tos. But just understanding how we can connect with other like-minded individuals that can help us create the path, not just for us, but for each other and those to come after us. So, Rika, I know you got something to say because you've been trying to get up in here for the past 33 minutes. Come on through. What do you have, Rika Wright?
I hope you can hear me. Oh my goodness. How's that? Is that better?
We got you.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
It's
it might be still a delay, but you guys can hear me. Delayed, but not denied.
Come on.
Yeah. And so I'm excited for you, Kit. I mean, everything you're doing. I mean, everything. And I was listening, even though I was there too. I heard everything I said. And just empowering. You're blaze trail. Like you said, your faith is strong. Can you hear me?
Bits and pieces. It sounds like you in a tunnel. What's that tunnel in Virginia that you go through and you can't hear nothing?
Oh, the thorn in my side, the Hampton Roads Bridge tunnel.
Oh, I'm in tunnel. Oh, I'm in a HRBT or something. Oh my goodness. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a terrible delay. But I was just saying that I'm just definitely excited for everything. And Rika, like that story you just shared, like Kit said, you were obedient. And I think at the end of the day, we just have to be obedient to God, and not be so scared or, starting something. There's no blueprint to fall back on and go, how did they do it? There's some little things you can ask different questions. Business itself, but when you're doing something, it's new and it's fearful. You stepping out on nothing, and so you hold on to him, really plug to him. And poof, oh my God, especially the past 15 years, I've been just really plugged in. And when he says move, move. Just like when you have a child and you're like, do X, Y, and Z, and they're like, why? I don't know why. Well, you don't always know the why. Know why. Move over here, go to and this morning, we do a power hour every morning. And on this morning's call, which kind of ties into this, we were just talking about procrastination, and taking it for granted. When they have things to do, I'm a procrastinator. And it sounds to them, right? Excuses all sound good. The person making them, I was like, really? Is it that, or do you take life for granted? So at the end of the day, we really have to look to see, what does God want us to do? Go after it and not take life for granted, not slap God in the face and say, well, I don't know, tomorrow. We have a lot of passing. The gentleman who passed last week, I don't know if it was an NFL player. He was 24 years old. And I'm sure he had plans for that day and the following week, but he's gone. So we cannot take life for granted. We definitely have to move forward in that. So that's what just sticks out in my head and my heart, because there's some things I need to move forward with. And I'm like, okay, we can't take life for granted. We just.
Can I just say, Rika, are you finished?
We can't hear her. I wish we could. I'm gonna have to go.
Okay.
Yes, I'm finished. I don't know if you guys.
Okay, I want to say two things. First thing, I want to make sure that I say congratulations to Kit. And I want to make sure that I say, I'm glad you didn't listen to those people who were telling you that this is not a playing field that you can be on. Because at the end of the day, we get to determine where we go this moment and the next moment after that. But something that Rika said just now about taking life for granted, and it made me think of my guest on today's show, right? When her best friend and his and her boy and her boy her best friend and her boyfriend laced weed and gave it to her. So they put some kind of chemical in the weed and gave it to her to smoke because she was gonna get married and leave Jamaica to live in America. And the friend kept inviting her out to celebrate with her or whatever. It was her best friend, the maid of honor at her wedding, and she laced the weed and she gave it to her, and it messed up her psyche. She's unable to think properly. She has suicidal thoughts almost daily, and even in that, she managed to write 4 books, self-published.
Wow.
She managed to write 4 books, self-published, even with the fact that she's not always so sound, right? And it made me think today when I was on my show that some of us get up every day. When she gets up, she's basically fighting to stay alive on a daily basis. When she wakes up, she has to say, God, give me the strength to choose life today. And when we get up in the mornings, most of us, we forget that this is something that we have. It's a luxury. We don't even have to think about whether or not we're going to be alive. It's not a question. But for her, it's a question. For her, it's a big question, and it's whether or not she has the will or she has the right person to call today to say, you can do this. you can make it through the day. She has to make that decision every day. And so many people are wasting their time.
You know what? That's key because God told me that this is the year for us to take action.
Mm.
Um, and I share this all the time. And Kit, I'm gonna let you chime in.
Yeah.
One of the things that we have to do is sit still enough to hear the instructions of what God is telling us to do next. And a lot of us hold up the connection, or we miss where we're supposed to build the bridge here because we're not sitting still long enough to hear the marching orders. And so I was telling my boo, I said, you know, babe, I said, God really has been grooming me for the season that I'm in now. And he goes, well, what do you mean? I said, since 2019, God has had me choosing a word to allow that thing to manifest within my life. So he knew in 2022, when he told me to take action in 2021, that I was going to do that previous because of my track record and my obedience. What am I saying? If we trust God the way that he desires for us to trust him, that's when more comes. But if he's telling you to move and you coming up with all these imminent, all these things, and then you're listening to the wrong people, that you aren't moving, you're gonna miss the connection, you're gonna miss the people, you're gonna miss that time, and we don't get that time back all the time. So Kit, tell us a little bit about how you even got into real estate. How did you hear that clarion call to be like, yes, real estate, that's it?
So this is where I got to give my husband just a little bit of credit. He tried to take all the credit for this, right? But my husband and I, one night we were, at first I was addicted to food and cooking networks, the Food Network. And a show came on that I had already seen a couple of times. So I hit one channel down and it was House Hunters. Next thing you know, it was a marathon of House Hunters. Like the episodes just coming back and forth. And I was like, you know what? I was like, one day I'm gonna be on that show. And my husband kind of honestly laughed at me. He's like, I told you should have been a real estate agent. We were investing. And I was like, looking, knowing what we do on our side and looking at this show, I was like, I think I can really do it. So I'm a fast forward. Long story short, I can be a hothead. I'm all Christian. I'm saved, but sometimes I can be a little bit more Peter than I should be. So so I got into an argument with my boss. I'm just gonna be completely transparent. So hope too many people ain't watched. Actually, I want everybody to watch. Everybody tune in to the Vault Talks. But nevertheless, I got into a dispute with my boss at work, just over policy and procedures. And I was like, I quit. I had, my husband has a pretty strong income, luckily, so I knew that we weren't going to be hurting for money. But I just knew in that moment, and I've never quit a job in that way, but I felt so disrespected and so taken advantage of. I was like, you know what? I quit. I was like, I'm done. I packed up everything and I left. And then when I left, I was like, where do I go? So I drove and I drove and I drove, and I was like, well, I'm going to go to this grocery store. I go to the grocery store, and next to it is the former brokerage I used to work for. And they had a sign, and it was like, now hiring real estate agents. So I went in there, and she was like, when can you start? And I was like, well, I just quit my job. She was like, well, our next training class starts next Monday. She was like, you can get your license simultaneously while doing, the training. She was like, you can go our training during the day, do, your licensing classes at night. She signed me up before I could even object. She was like, Alpha Real Estate College. She's like, where's your credit card? She's a closer. And I will always respect her. She was like, where's your credit card? Oh, okay. Next thing you know, before I knew it, I left one job that day and I had a career in real estate just by chance, because that was not even the goal. I came home and I'm telling my husband, guess what? I'm a real estate agent now. And guess what else? You're going to have to pay all the bills for a couple of months. I don't have a job anymore either. And so and that's literally how I became a real estate agent. Fast forward a year later, I'll skip the longevity of that story. But I told my husband, I called him, I said, guess who's going to be on HGTV? And he said, you lying. And I was like, no, babe, I got this crazy call. I thought it was a lie. I was like, no, they really want me to be on HGTV for House Hunters. And so a year from the time when I told him, laying in bed just that night, the first time I had ever seen that show that I was going to be on it, I was actually on the show. And so, yeah, God, like, so when y'all say that God just kind of aligns things, but what I really learned from that is to be careful what you say, sometimes good or bad, because just me speaking that thing out loud that I was going to be on that show, it dang sure came to pass. So, and it was just, and I still don't even know to this day sometimes how it happened, but it did. And that's my real estate journey, the long, all the way around the world story of it. But
Wow. Wow. I'm speechless. Sharika, what do you have?
I love it. I absolutely love it because it's the same thing, and I experience it occasionally. It just happens because my vision, I sometimes struggle putting it into words, to be honest with you. It's so much bigger than me that sometimes I don't know how to word it. And sometimes I cry too, because it feels like I'm in it alone, and it gets hard, right? But then occasionally something happens and it says, yes, God still got me. You know that feeling you get when you're almost, if you're not giving up, but you're getting weary. And then something clicks and it's like, keep going. It's not even a big thing, right? It just says keep going. And I love how she just trusted herself there. She completely trusted herself at Kit. I'm talking. I mean, I'm done with you. This is enough. I've had enough of you. I'm done, and I'm standing up for me today. It's funny. I'm at a crossroad at this moment where I'm like, this is what I have to do, right? And I'm not making any money, but I know that this is gonna come through, and I'm sticking with it. So you're gonna have to take it or leave it.
Woo!
love it, love it.
And man, I'm the most selfish person on the planet. And a friend, and I was like, I'm wrecking my life. And a friend was like, you're smiling. Most people, when they use those words, they're not smiling. But I trust in my vision so much that you remember yesterday, Takara, I was saying I'm having a I don't give a damn day.
Yes.
Well, it's one of those things where I'm saying, okay, this is what I have on my heart, and I'm not letting it go,
Yeah.
right? So if I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's so good. Kit, what I love about your story is that we all can relate to it. I feel like we all play a role in your story. And the reason I say that is because you sharing it allows for us to be activated. And now we can see how our vision is aligned with yours simply because of what you said, even about Jeremiah 29:11, and really staying focused on the vision and the plan and the dreams and the goals. So, what would you say to someone out here as we are wrapping up Vault Talks Women Share to take a leap within their own world? Like, what would you say to trust what they're seeing and trust what they're hearing, because a lot of times it's hard to do, but somehow you press past all of that and you're here. So what would you tell these people, these women, that they see something, they hear something, but they haven't leaped yet? What would you say to them?
Wow, that is such a deep question. I would tell them to pray on it first before I make any move that's major. I pray on it. Even though I left the job that day in haste, I had already knew that I was supposed to have been out of that job, but I stayed out of a sense of loyalty to that position and to that company. But God had already told me through prayer that I was supposed to leave. So although sometimes when you see things and it looks like it's happening in haste, there's so many things behind the scene, that's going on that kind of brings all of that to a full head. But with that being said as well, I have to say this to people who are thinking about jumping and making a turn, just a pivot in their life or anything. Comparison is the thief of all joy. Don't look at anybody else's journey and measure yourself against it, because you do not know what a person is going through behind the scenes. Your journey has to be your own. Pray on it. Research. One of your previous shows I was watching, where I know what was her? It was Vicky Cakes. She said she did 30 minutes of market research, and that was all she needed to see. It doesn't have to be, this long drawn out plan. Sometimes the longer we draw the plan, we're just giving ourselves time to talk ourselves out of it. Get the facts, get your information, make a vision statement, or make a mission statement. Those two things are totally separate. Research a little bit, because I know we got to wrap up, and move. Take that, like we said, I think that has been the theme of this whole conversation, is make a step. That's all you have to do. And you know what? If you fall down, it will be okay. Before this business, I have plenty of other ones. And some of them are still doing quite well, and some of them definitely are not. But it's okay. And you have to remember that. Just like when your kid falls down, what we tell them, dust yourself off, you okay. That's the first thing we say when the baby falls, you're okay. Come on. So you're going to be okay. It's okay to fall. It is okay to fail. Do not let that scare you. If anything, learn from it and get on up and keep going. That is my word to anybody. Let go of that fear of failure. Matter of fact, embrace it. Just tell yourself, you know what? I'm going to fail at this, but I'm going to be the best failure there is. I'm going to fail with grace, class, and style all up in here. I'm going to fail in my Chanel purse. And be okay with that. Be okay knowing that you might fail, but be comfortable knowing that there's a great chance that you might win.
Woo! Listen, Kit, we're going to have you come back when we launch Vault Talks on Roku. You got to come back and celebrate with us. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for having me.
Oh my God, no, you family, girl. You're going to have to come back, and I will actually be in your area in July. I'm really excited.
Love that, because that is actually my grand opening for the office space, because my build out has to be lavish with a name like Opulent. So definitely come on by. You too, Rika. I know you come to Virginia every now and again, and whenever you're here, I try to catch you.
Woo!
I'll come to Jamaica just for you.
Yeah, okay. Listen, you guys, this has been another episode of Vault Talks Women Share. Look and see how you can follow Kit on IG. It is scrolling across your screen right now, right now. Keep in touch with the moves that she's making, because if you're looking to get into real estate, she's definitely ordained in this field to make moves. And we thank you so much. We are excited for you. We celebrate you. And y'all, this has been Vault Talks Women Share. Next week is the Females Coaches Huddle. We're talking about competition. Ain't got no place, because we're going to collaborate, baby. That's what we going to do. So much love, peace, and hair grease. And we are out. Woo!
Talks women share, to be bold and take risks. The talks women say what they feel and mean what they say. Yeah. The talks women share, to be bold and take risks.